Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Jeff Rains coming to you again with Foundation of Civilization. Something I think we need to address, and something that I failed to note in my weekly update. But it leads me to a much bigger thing, bigger point, because, and I'm glad that kind of glad that I missed it because this gives me an opportunity to address a problem that we have in our country today, in the United States, that is. Uh, Nancy Pelosi fell and broke her hip at a celebration of the Battle of the Bulge. My grandfather was actually injured at the Battle of the Bulge. She had emergency surgery to replace her hip. Also, recently, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, Mitch McConnell fell and he, injured himself, and I believe they saw some pictures of him that he had some injuries to his face and to his wrist. He had to have his wrist wrapped up. Uh, Also, want to make a note. Well, actually, let me make a note for these two. Okay, both of them are in their 80s. They're they've been in office for quite a while, and we have other politicians that remained in office far past their service life. John McCain, I mean, he ended up dying in office of cancer. Dianne Feinstein also died in office. Now, some things that really begin to bug me about this. Like I said, they're past their service life. I mean, people get old, they get infirm, they need to go home and be able to rest and recuperate, spend time with their kids, grandchildren, and apparently now they're great grandchildren. But instead, they're still in Washington D.C. making decisions that are going to affect the country. Unfortunately, many of the decisions are going to inflict pain on the country. Dianne Feinstein, actually, John McCain and Dianne Feinstein, towards the end of their lives, it was noted that they were not doing very well. John McCain appeared to be suffering from the effects of taking cancer treatments. Dianne Feinstein, for the last couple of years of her life, she was she was just out of it. There was one instance when she was asked her vote in the Senate, and she started to make a speech. All they needed was a yes or no, and her assistants told her to vote aye. Like that's ridiculous. You cannot tell me that when somebody has gone started it down that road of dementia that they are representing the people. Unfortunately, we as a public continue to allow this to happen. And in the case of somebody like Dianne Feinstein, yeah, it's not just her constituents, the people that she represents, that need to speak up. There are people from all over the country that should have spoken up. Um, Now the question is, why do they stay in office? Why do they stay there so long? Well, because there's something going on behind the scenes. Once the puppet masters get their people into office, get their loyal subjects in there, they don't like to get rid of them. They know what to expect. They know that the politicians that they have bought off are reliable. In the in the case of John McCain, and many of these politicians have some very sketchy past. In the case of John McCain, he was involved in a bribery scandal in 1989. He was part of the Keating Five. Uh, Charles H. Keating was chairman of the savings and loan of the Lincoln Savings and Loan, and that went under and cost the taxpayers $3.4 billion. A total of 23,000 bondholders were defrauded, and many investors lost their life savings. Now, he was cleared of having any improper actions, taking any improper actions, but he was criticized for poor judgment. Dianne Feinstein, she maintained a spy in her office for 20 years. He was her driver and, I guess, a trusted aide. And a lot of people a lot of people trying to say that she didn't know. Well, maybe when he came to the office, she didn't know, but somewhere along the line, somebody had to wake up and say, something's just not right here. And if it wasn't somebody in her office that spoke up and said something's wrong, then it should have been somebody from the FBI or the CIA. They should have been able to take Miss Senator Feinstein aside and say, "Hey, ma'am, the guy that you're employing is a spy," and it shouldn't take them 20 years to come to that conclusion. They should be able to get there within 12 months or so. But instead, who knows what kind of damage was done as a result of the spy being in her office for 20 years. Now, Mitch McConnell is affectionately known as Cocaine Mitch because he and his wife happen to be investors in a shipping company that is owned by his father in law. And in 2014, one of the ships in this company was searched and found to have about 90 pounds of cocaine on it. Now, there's no way that the Senator McConnell, had any knowledge that cocaine was being shipped, and nobody on the ship was charged. And like I said, the senator had no direct connection to it. His wife, however, did have some questionable dealings when she was the Secretary of Transportation that benefited her family. While her family left China, mainland China, during the Civil War, their business, Foremost Group, a dry bulk shipping company, borrowed $100 million from Chinese banks. Those banks are owned either completely or partially by the Chinese Communist Party. They have ties to the Chinese Communist Party, even though they're originally from Taiwan. Well, her father's originally from China, but when the Civil War broke out, he fled to Taiwan with a lot of other people. Nancy Pelosi is well known for her stock market prognostications that far exceed her education in the market. Her success is strictly tied to her insider knowledge of new deals that the government is about to make. On a salary of about $174,000 a year, she's been able to amass a well over $100 million fortune. Now, she always defers to her husband and says, "Oh, her husband makes all the decisions." Well, sure, but where does he get the information? More than likely from her. These people, despite being corrupt, which most politicians, if they've been in Washington for more than a few years, they somehow or another end up being corrupt. And despite being infirm, remain in office far too long. Uh, they they don't remain in office after their service life because of their love of country, but because the people that pull the levers uh, keep them in office because they know that they are loyal and will vote according to the string puller's dictates, not because of the politician's conscience. Problems in politics will not fix themselves. We will have to do it. We have to get up, make our voices heard, and let them know that there comes a time when it's time to go home. Uh, More importantly, I think it's time. There comes a time when you say, "All right, we don't want you uh, getting all mixed up into this mess, and so we're going to limit your time in Washington D.C. to about 10 years." If we are to fix the problem, we must implement term limits. But we don't need any new laws. We just have to exercise a modicum of resolve and not vote for anybody who's been in a political position for more than 10 years. These are some of the changes that need to be made in our world and for our world, especially in the United States. I hope that you guys understand it and understand the changes that need to be made in our world as you watch the changes that are unfolding around our world. Much love to everybody. Hope that you all are doing well. It is coming up on the Christmas season here, and I hope that you're uh, getting ready, preparing. I hope that you're ready and your family is safe and warm and happy, and getting ready for a new year. Thank you again, and please like, share, and subscribe. This is Jeff Rains with Foundation of Civilization signing out.